Philosophy. Have you ever felt a pressure inside you that has no name? It's not anxiety, not quite fear, but something colder, more pervasive. It's the constant, gnawing feeling that you're not who you're supposed to be, that your life is a performance and you're just one mistake away from the curtain falling, revealing the fraud you are. You're haunted by an unspoken judgment, a phantom audience that critiques your every move, from the words you choose to the career path you walk. You try to live with purpose, to find a sense of self, but the ground keeps shifting. You see others with an unshakable core, a quiet confidence that feels alien to you. And you wonder, what are they hiding? What do they know that you don't? Maybe it's a feeling you get when you're standing in a crowd, scrolling through a perfect digital feed, or even in the quiet of your own home when all the distractions fade away. The feeling that everyone else has a manual for life that you somehow missed. This is not just a passing insecurity. This is the echo of a profound philosophical wound, a crisis of identity that has plagued humanity for centuries. It's the silent, desperate question we ask ourselves every single day. Who am I, really? This isn't a question that can be answered with a job title, a relationship status, or a list of hobbies. Those are just costumes, temporary roles we play. The real question is far more dangerous. It's a question that, when left unexamined, leaves you vulnerable to the darkest, most manipulative forces in the world, both from others and from within yourself. It leaves you open to the whisper of the will to nothingness, a concept that Nietzsche saw as the ultimate danger of the modern age. The will to nothingness is not a death wish. It's a weariness of life, a desire for an escape from the burden of existence and the terrifying freedom of being. It's the impulse to fill the void with anything, busyness, validation, pleasure, even suffering, because the alternative is to face the unsettling truth. You are not a fixed point, but a constant act of becoming. And in that becoming lies a choice, a terrifying, beautiful, and utterly inescapable choice. The two faces of the mask. For most of us, this dangerous question is born in our earliest moments. We are not born with a fixed identity. We are born as raw potential, as a blank canvas with a set of brushes. And the world, with its 1,000 eyes, begins to tell us who we are and what we should paint. Our parents, our teachers, our friends, our culture, they give us our first mask. They tell us what we should like, what we should value, and what success looks like. This is not necessarily an evil act. It is how society functions, how we learn to navigate the world. But it is also a fundamental betrayal of our true selves. Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard described this perfectly. He spoke of the self of necessity and the self of possibility. The self of necessity is the person we are told to be. It is the role we play to get approval, to fit in, to survive. It's the compliant student, the dutiful employee, the agreeable friend. The self of possibility is the person we could be if we dared to choose. It is our authentic potential, our true, terrifying freedom. The problem is, we get so good at wearing the mask of necessity that we forget what our true face looks like. We become strangers to ourselves, living a life that feels slightly off-key, like a song played in the wrong rhythm, but we can't quite place why. Think about it. The pressure to be productive, the hustle culture, the endless pursuit of the dream life defined by someone else's highlight reel. This is the self of necessity at its most powerful. It promises us a fortress of stability in a chaotic world. It tells us, if you just work hard enough, achieve this goal, buy this thing, you will finally be whole. But every time we check a box, The feeling of emptiness returns. The hole remains. Why? Because you are not building a life for yourself. You are building a prison for the self of possibility. You are building a monument to a person who doesn't actually exist. And here's where the unexpected, uncomfortable truth comes in. The mask is comfortable. It's a refuge from the anxiety of freedom. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the German theologian, spoke of the fear of being called. The fear of hearing the voice that asks you to step out of the shadows, to live a life of courage and authenticity. The fear of being stripped of all your excuses. The mask provides a shield, a reason to say, I can't, this is just who I am. You say this to the world, but you're really saying it to yourself, to the part of you that is terrified of the limitless, unknown potential that lies just beneath the surface. The Sisyphus syndrome. You're trapped in a cycle of self-betrayal, and you feel it. You try to break free. You start a new hobby, make a new friend, try a new diet. But you're still just rearranging the furniture in a room you hate. This is what Albert Camus would call the myth of Sisyphus, not in the classic sense of a hero defiantly pushing a boulder, but in the modern neurotic sense. We are Sisyphus, but our boulder is the relentless cycle of self-improvement. We push the rock of our to-do list up the hill of a Monday, only for it to roll back down on Sunday night, leaving us right where we started. We chase a temporary high, a momentary sense of purpose, only to be left with the same existential dread once the feeling fades. But there's an even deeper trap. In this state of existential exhaustion, we become easy prey for external manipulators. The toxic friend who says, "You're just so dramatic." The unsupportive partner who asks, "Why can't you just be happy?" The charismatic leader who promises a perfect, pre-packaged identity if you just follow their rules, if you just join their cause. They sense your emptiness, your lack of a defined core, and they offer you a solution, a new mask, a new script to follow, a new boulder to push. They offer to answer the dangerous question for you. This is a subtle, insidious form of control. They don't need to force you. They just need to offer a comfortable alternative to the terrifying burden of freedom. They whisper, "Don't worry about who you are." Philosophy. Just be like us. We have all the answers. We'll tell you who you are. And you, tired and weary from the search, are tempted to accept the offer, to trade the struggle of becoming for the security of belonging, to choose certainty over authenticity, to give up the right to define yourself. This is the great lie of our time. It's the lie that if you just keep adding things to your life, more likes, more achievements, more friends, you will eventually find a self. But the self is not found. It is created. It is an act of defiance, a courageous choice to subtract from your life everything that is not you. It is the decision to become your own sculptor, to chisel away at the clay until the truth is revealed. The uncomfortable path of negative definition. So, how do you escape? How do you answer the dangerous question of, "Who am I?" You don't, not directly. You answer it in reverse. You begin to define yourself by what you are not. This is a form of negative theology applied to the self. Instead of trying to list all the things you are, you begin to systematically identify and discard all the things you are not. Think of it like a sculptor. They don't add clay to a block to create a statue. They chip away everything that isn't the final form. That's your task. Start with the easiest lies first, the habits you hate but keep doing, the friends who drain your energy, the social media feeds that make you feel inadequate, the job that pays the bills but kills your spirit. Each one is a layer of the mask, a lie you agreed to tell yourself. And with each one you discard, the air gets a little lighter, the ground a little firmer. This is a painful, often lonely process. Bonhoeffer, writing from his prison cell, would call it discipleship, a radical, uncomfortable choice to follow your true calling, even if it leads to solitude. It is the path of subtraction, not addition. It is the courage to say no, to be silent when everyone else is shouting, to walk away from the table of conformity, even if it means you have to stand alone for a while. This is where the wisdom of the Stoics returns. They knew that true freedom lies in what is within your control. And the most powerful thing in your control is your mind, your ability to choose what you value and what you discard. You cannot control what others think of you. You cannot control the chaotic world. But you can choose to stop wearing the mask they handed you. You can choose to chip away at the statue, revealing the form that was always there, waiting to be born. It is the ultimate act of self-love and self-creation. A final, lingering thought. So, go back to that feeling. The one that whispers you're not who you're supposed to be. Listen to it. That's not a voice of self-loathing. It's the self of possibility, desperate to be heard. It's the inner sculptor, tired of waiting. It's asking you a different kind of dangerous question. If you were to live your life for no one but yourself, what would you do? What would you stop doing? You might not have the answer. That's okay. The point isn't to find it all at once. The point is to begin the work, to refuse to settle for the prepackaged life, to start the slow, deliberate process of subtraction, of negative definition, to begin chipping away at the stone. Because when you do, you'll find that the true person you've been searching for was never a destination. They were the very act of chipping itself. And in that simple, courageous act, you find not an answer, but a life worth living. You find the unwavering core you always thought you were missing. You become the one thing no one can take away from you: yourself.